Season 22 starts next Tuesday, and we don't know an awful lot about the season, but we do know a couple of bits of key information which we should be able to speculate off of in at least some capacity, which is what I'm going to do in this video. But before we get on to that, Bungie released a new photo on their Destiny 2 account on YouTube as a community post, and this image, which you'll see on your screen now, is of Imaru, the Guardian, and Ikora having some sort of meeting somewhere in the Throne World, it looks like. Somebody pointed out in the comments of this community post that it looks like the end of the Ghosts mission in The Witch Queen. I'm not quite sure what mission that is because it's been a while since I played the campaign, but it is somewhere in the Throne World, it looks like. This is definitely Imaru because the shell is different from any other Hive Ghost, and he's the only Hive Ghost we've seen with this shell ever, to my knowledge. But a few things you can see here. So it's interesting to me whenever this meeting will take place. I'm assuming because they're releasing the photo now that it's going to take place at the very, very start of the season. And it's going to be us going to the Throne World after having communicated to Imaru at some stage that we want to revive Savathûn and that we need help. Because at the end of the day, the Witness is a threat to the Lucent Hive as much as it's a threat to us, because it wants to end all life, essentially. This looks like a fairly no threat meeting. I mean, the Guardian's just standing there not holding any guns. Ikora just looks like Ikora, and Imaru's just kind of floating there, so at any stage we could grab him and explode him. So or at any stage he could just, I don't know, do something. It looks like there's a bit of an understanding, at least. Something we can see from this is the armor set for the Warlock. So assuming it's the same for every like the Titans and the Hunters, it looks like it's a fairly simple armor set this season, but it looks as if Hive technology has kind of been incorporated into it. This conveys to me that we're going to have some sort of alliance with Savathûn, I think, if we're kind of incorporating that technology, the Hive technology, into our armor. But I think that could be quite interesting. I might be reading way too far into it, but that's the point of this video. Speculation. There's a few ways I could see this coming season going, season 22. The first thing is, what is the name? Is it season of the, or is it season of blank? That's always the big question. So far we've had Season of Defiance, Season of the Deep, and if we keep with the Season of the D something theme, we could have Season of the Denial, Destruction, I don't really know. But I think what's more likely is going to be the Season of the Witch, or something like that. I could see this season going in a few different directions story-wise. I think the first step will be, regardless of what way it goes, that we contact Imaru to have some sort of parlay with the Lucent Hive, have a meeting with him, with Ikora, us, and Imaru, obviously as seen in that photo, where we discuss wanting to revive Savathûn. We're going to have to bring Savathûn's body to the Throne World, I reckon, in order for her to be revived. I think reviving her in the tower would be a terrible idea, so I imagine that'll be done in the Throne World. That means she's probably going to be roaming free, which could be a bit of a silly thing on our part, but I think she's going to act more as an ally, maybe an uneasy ally, more than an enemy. So I don't think Savathûn and the Guardians will ever be friends, I guess would be the term. The same way Keitel and the Last City are friends, and House of Light and the City are friends, I guess. They're in an alliance. I think it'll be more of a temporary thing with Savathûn and the Lucent Hive. Especially seems how the Lucent Hive enemy is going to be added to Gambit at some stage. In the final shape, I think. So this is definitely going to be a temporary thing in my mind. I think the season will either spend a large portion of its time, if not all of the time, in the Throne World, or it'll bring back a destination which we have lost, such as Io or Mercury. This season, season 21, Season of the Deep, brought back Titan, and there is a lore entry which details a conversation from Osiris and Ikora saying how Titan's return into the solar system was felt by the Veil. It reacted. The Veil's signature is stronger now that Titan's returned, and it was almost as if the Veil recognized Titan had returned, and the solar system's rhythm, or something along those lines, is getting closer to normality. Seems like one of the missing planets has been restored. Out of the ones that we were missing, we have two return now, Mars and Titan. So this is the first one which has been restored whilst we have access to the Veil. So I think my hopefulness and my speculatory side is saying we will either get Io or Mercury returning this season, and we'll get the other returning the next season in preparation for the final ship. The other way I could see this going is that at the end of this season we have to bring back Io and Mercury ourselves with the help of Savathûn, and then the final season is exploring these locations in order to have the ability to get through the portal. There's another alternative, which is that this season that we end up figuring out how to get through the portal, and then season 23 we actually go through the portal. This is a bit far-fetched potentially, because the final ship's destination will likely be whatever's on the other side of that portal, so it'd be a bit surprising if we end up going there in the last season of this year basically. But it could work. There could be sort of an intermediary stage where you go through the portal, you're in some other dimension or some sort of like traveling world, and then you go through somewhere there and get into the actual world inside of the Traveler. But I guess we'll see. There's also the possibility that the Witness does actually create the final ship, given that that's what the name of the expansion is, and the final ship is whatever's in the basically whatever's shown in that trailer for the final ship, and that doesn't exist until after this year's events, and perhaps we go through the portal and it's completely different looking before that. So, but this is getting way too far into the future. So I think for now, what I realistically think will happen is that we will spend a good portion of the season on the Throne World. That'll be our base of operations for this season, and it'll be Savathûn mostly being an ally, and it's going to be a bit of an uneasy alliance, and she will turn on us at some stage after the Witness has been dealt with. But for this season, she'll be an ally, be in the Throne World, she'll get revived in the Throne World, and she'll be mostly Roman free. The hopeful side of me is saying that we'll either get Io or Mercury returning this season in a similar way that we got Titan this season, and that we will we'll be facing Ziva Hive and taking forces on that destination then, as well as basically the same as we have been on Titan. It'll definitely be a Hive focus season, but will the allies just be Hive? Will the location just be Hive, or will they actually be fighting Hive enemies? Is the thing, because if we're on the Throne World with Savathûn helping us, we're not likely going to be fighting her Hive. So that's about it. Hopeful side of me is we will get Io or Mercury this coming season, and that we will then get the other destination after that, and we'll have to retrieve some sort of information from these locations in order to get through the portal, and we will have to return these two destinations in order to get through the portal, because the Veil has reacted and the solar system is missing a planet and a moon. I think that could be quite interesting. That's the end of the speculation. I would love to hear your speculation in the comments below. I'm probably way off the mark with whatever I'm speculating here, because we know virtually nothing about the next season other than Savathûn's going back. So I'll have to see how that goes. It could be interesting if Imaru just straight up denies reviving Savathûn. That could be an interesting twist, and then we have to force him into doing it. But yeah, maybe that won't happen. I doubt that will happen, but you never know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribing, and I am very much looking forward to the Destiny 2 showcase on Tuesday. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.